The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
What's good, everyone? Happy Hump Day. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4. We are currently streaming live on ESPNTucson.com and the ESPN Tucson mobile app. Huge thanks to all of our supporters listening to us from 7 to 9 a.m. on the live show. And also huge thank you to all of the supporters on our podcast. The people who subscribe, rate, and comment on Apple and Spotify. If you haven't yet, make sure you do that. And also check us out on Spears and Ali YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel, and you can watch the video version of our podcast on that platform. You can watch it at home or watch in the office.
Yeah, it's always got
a
couple of extra things in there that you don't get on the show, so you're going to have to go look for those Easter eggs. What happened yesterday, fellas?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What
Was
happened
Justin
yesterday?
frustrated about someone who commented on something or other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one of those moments. It's just one of those days, man.
What happened?
Well, I'm dealing with the leak at my house.
Yeah. How'd that go?
And I got it fixed.
Was it as expensive as I was concerned about?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said, and by the way, we don't do drywall. I mean, we can do drywall, but we're going to have to charge you like roughly $500. I was like, for two tiny holes?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna call a guy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit somebody up.
Handyman.
So I've been I'm not
Or
the
woman.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I am not one of those people. I'm not the handy person. So I'm like, yeah, let me reach out to some folks on Facebook and put out a Facebook post if there's anybody that's willing to help me out, fix this drywall and paint it, and I'll be happy to pay you. I just don't want to get charged an arm and a leg by a certain company. But I will say it was it's fixed, it's over with. And you know, I got to give a huge shout out to Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, because they were the ones who came out and fixed the leak. Huge shout out to Gerald for getting it done. Gerald and I forgot his right hand man, but they came out. They were so professional. They wore the like the booties on their shoes, so they didn't track dust in the house, and they were very clean, very professional. They came in, got the job done, and they were a pro. So I was happy to pay that tab. So shout out to Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for coming out to Casa de Spears and fixing the leak. And I figured, I'm like, if we're gonna have them as a show sponsor, let's do business with them. And so I'm very happy I did that.
I'm getting through to you.
You are.
Do businesses with businesses that make your community a better place. No one, right there at the top with Tucson Federal Credit Union and Nova Home Loans, especially the handsome Paul Volpe, is Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. So good for you.
Hell yeah.
But you're kind of rambling. What happened with the comment?
Oh, yeah, the comment.
Yeah.
I don't know, someone
Honestly, nothing.
honestly, a whole lot of nothing. And I don't want to give this too much attention because we still got lots to talk about with Tucson sports. Pro baseball's back in Tucson. Fred Harvey retiring. We got lots to discuss on the Tucson and the Arizona front. But someone said, this podcast is garbage.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was one of that. I was, because when Andrew calls upon me on the days I'm not here to intercede and calm you down, I know it's bad.
Yeah. Well, and I was mad because they said that we act like a married couple.
Yeah.
And
they said I was cool.
Yeah, and they're like, the dude with the beard is cool, but the other two suck.
That's all right.
I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, we act like a married couple. I mean, well,
he does never do the dishes.
Whoever made that comment, yeah, that's called chemistry, and also potentially maybe a little self-awareness why you're still single at 52.
Hey, yo.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, girls never talk to me like that. Yeah, buddy. There's a reason why.
There's reasons.
Yeah.
There's reasons for that.
How come she's looking like, how come she looks at you like that and she talks to you like that? They never do that with me. That's weird. Yeah. Weird.
And it's always someone who never puts their name on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Machiavelli.
Ooh.
I was like, okay.
All right.
Either a big Tupac fan or a Machiavelli guy.
All I know is there's been a lot of wear and tear on your gears lately. I've noticed because they've been worn.
Yeah,
they're grinding your gears.
they are grinding.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
Your mustache is not flipped up today, so it seems like you're doing
good
better.
sign.
It's a good. You had a good morning.
I've gotten over it.
Yeah, good.
I've gotten over it because whether you like us, whether you hate us, if you comment, you're giving us engagement.
Okay.
And it's like almost like I felt like Eazy-E after a little bit because the way Andrew explained it to me, I was like, you know what, Andrew, you are right. It reminded me of the movie Straight Outta Compton when Eazy-E and Ice Cube and everyone in NWA is looking out the window and they're seeing the people destroying the CDs.
They're burning them.
And they're burning them,
Yeah.
and they're, using a truck and running them over. And Eazy-E was like, personally, I don't care what they do with them. They bought the mother bleepers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously you're not buying our podcast, but thank you for the engagement.
Justin did have to. He didn't mention that he was the one who put the holes in his wall at home for them to get in there. That was how he took it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Anyway, good. I'm glad you're better.
Gotta get the fire out.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now on to a very important episode of Spears and Ali. It was a very busy day in the 520 yesterday. Shout out to Tucson, Arizona, and 520 day. It was cool to talk about how awesome this city is. And it was a busy day yesterday. First and foremost, starting with the most important news, in my opinion, and that is professional baseball is back in Tucson, Arizona. It's been a long time since a team has called Tucson home. The last team to do so was the Tucson Padres, led by Anthony Rizzo. And the last time they played their season in Tucson was in 2013. And so that was the last time a team called Tucson home. And now, 12 years later, professional baseball is back, but it is not a AAA team. It's not a minor league team. It's a team from the Mexican Pacific Winter League. And Mayos de Navajoa will relocate, and they are going to call Tucson home. My colleague Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star, he was the first one to report this yesterday. He's got the story that you could check out in today's edition of the Arizona Daily Star. You can also go to Tucson.com as well. And I know this is very important because it is the number one story on our website right now. Tucsonans care about baseball, and they care about baseball being back here on a full-time basis. And, we've seen pro baseball, throughout the years here in Tucson, right? The Mexican Baseball Fiesta has been rocking out for the last, dozen years here. Led by Frank Agamez, who used to play in the Mexican Pacific Winter League and is really a big name. Like the Agamez family is a household name in the Mexican Pacific Winter League. And so they got the Mexican Baseball Fiesta to come here to Tucson, and that pretty much kicks off their season, right? And they have such a great event at Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium. I mean, it's really like a party with baseball going on in the background. And then you also see the University of Arizona get involved, and they play in that game as well. And then most recently, we saw the World Baseball Classic qualifiers here, and the team led by Blake Eager at Southern Arizona Sports Tourism and Film Authority, and Visit Tucson and Pima County. So many people gave a concerted effort to put in a new field, which cost over $400,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
They put in a new video board, like all the things that they poured into Keno Stadium was over $1 million. And when we were there for the World Baseball Classic, we saw the conditions of the stadium, and we were like, a team needs to be here. This stadium is way too nice to not have a tenant. And Tucson, Arizona, and a bunch of people, they worked together to get a team from the Mexican Pacific Winter League here. And I'm so excited because not only do we have professional baseball back in Tucson, but it's the circumstance. Tucson is home to the only American Mexican Pacific Winter League team.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in some ways, we are Toronto, right? With the Blue Jays, and the only Canadian team that's in Major League Baseball. And so not only are you cheering for Tucson baseball, but you're cheering for America. I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and there might be some some PCL games here and there. They'll be connected to U of A, just some exhibition games here and there. But shout out to a guy in town named Blake Eager has been a champion of this. Felipe Garcia from Visit Tucson. Ray Flores, El Charro Restaurants.
Yeah.
You want to support a restaurant during the summer hours or summertime when things are slow? Local. You got Ray Flores and the Charro Restaurants, and you got Grant Kruger from Union, Reforma, Proof, the Maverick. You want to go local in the summer because it slows down. But those guys are always behind things like this, and they've done a good job of getting it to this point. And we'll see when we first pitch. We'll see when first pitch happens.
I'm excited, man.
So hyped.
Awesome. I'm excited. And I think it's also cool too, because obviously here in Southern Arizona, very large Latino population, and they're going to have no problems at all putting butts in seats, because people have been clamoring for baseball to come back. And then the Mexican Winter League teams, they put on a good event. It's always a party. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
So
you might have said this. Are they playing at Keno? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Pima County, to say they stepped up would be an understatement. Pima County is right now under the leadership in Pima County. It's never been more, I don't know, good.
It's been better, man.
Yeah. I don't know. What else
It's good.
Superlative.
Yeah. No, Jan Lesher are doing a great job, and everybody there. I think Pima County has really stepped up and trying to not just maintain the things we have, but bring new things to Tucson, and, kudos to them.
That's wicked, dude.
When you guys, so we're all Tucsonans here. When you guys think of professional baseball in Tucson, Arizona, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Sidewinders.
Tucson Sidewinders?
Yeah.
Toros.
Tucson Toros. And that's the thing, is like, who you ask, right? Certain generations grew up with certain teams. Some generations grew up with the Tucson Toros going out to High Corbett Field. Do they also play at Keno? Or the stadium formerly known as TEP?
They did. And yeah. There's only really two right answers. It's the Toros or the Cleveland Indians. Sidewinders is the wrong answer.
What? The wrong what? But yeah, the Sidewinders, they set up shop in 1998. They are obviously the minor league team to the Arizona Diamondbacks, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. The disappointing game for the D-backs last night, but
not if you bet a little bit of money on the Dodgers after the Diamondbacks went up 3-1 in the top of the 10th. And I'm like, you know what? This feels like a Dodgers win to me, like a comeback. So I'm going to put a little bit of money on it.
Yes, sir.
At plus money. Yeah. Not disappointing whatsoever.
Max Muncy, sacrifice fly to get it done.
Yeah.
Yamamoto.
I screwed him yesterday.
No hitter through 6.
Yeah. Yamamoto had he had 1 walk, no hits through 6. I texted you guys and my brothers. I'm like, Yamamoto, and then the shush emoji. Literally 5 seconds later, Ketel Marte hit a single, and I'm like, that's on me. That is totally on me, Mr. Yamamoto. You don't know who I am. We'll probably never meet, but just know there's a guy in Tucson that completely screwed your no-hitter yesterday, and I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Oh man,
could have been a Yamanono, but no.
I
wouldn't let it
boy.
happen. Yeah, my bad. What do you want to say? My bad.
So up next, the series finale for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Burns will now take the mound, and he will go up against Dustin May for the series finale later on today, which you could listen to right here on ESPN Tucson.
My Pittsburgh Pirates finally found the recipe for success in Major League Baseball.
Is it getting more runs than the other team?
Just no. That's impossible.
Oh,
we haven't scored over 4 runs in like 23 straight games. We just don't let them score. We won 1-0. Yeah, we won 1-0. And I join all my Pirate brethren, primarily in Pittsburgh, but across the country, in calling for Bob Nutting, the owner, to leave, sell the team. And maybe it's possible because everybody's like, well, what's Mark Cuban doing now? Why is he leaving Shark Tank? Mark Cuban is starting a private equity fund, $750 million to start investing in sports assets that they think are undervalued. I would love Mark Cuban to be a Pittsburgh guy to be the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Bob Nutting, please leave. You're the worst. Everybody hates you.
What if he pulls off Bryce Harper?
No, dude.
That is a trade rumor. There could be a blockbuster trade. Bryce Harper going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so we're going to trade Paul Skeens. Great. That's awesome. That would be a Bob Nutting move. he's the worst. He's just absolutely the worst owner in sports, and he needs to go because I really want to be able to root for my team after May 15th. Just a little bit. That's not asking for much. I mean, we're already out of it. So, Bob Nutting, Pirates owner, you suck. Sell the team.
Going back to baseball back here in Tucson, though, we still need to get kind of like the official announcement from the Mexican Pacific Winter League.
Yeah.
But another thing that has kind of led to this, getting the Mexican Pacific Winter League team in Tucson, is they had other like another scrimmage, right? Didn't they like start the season? Didn't they have like opening day here in Tucson? And then
Sure. Yeah.
and they
showcased
and
something.
there was like some big showcase, and they had it on YouTube, and that league has really gotten a nice little deal with YouTube, so their games are streamed on YouTube. So not only can you watch professional baseball here in Tucson by going to the games, but when they're on the road down in Mexico, fire up YouTube and you can watch the game there.
Cool.
You can watch you can watch Spears and Ali leading up to the game, and then you can watch the game on YouTube.
Ooh, YouTube double box.
Yeah.
Baseball is Spears and Ali.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh, rub those hands together.
Like Birdman.
Yeah.
All right. Also, some other big, huge news coming out of Tucson, Arizona. And this one comes out of the University of Arizona, and that is Arizona track and field head coach Fred Harvey retiring after 38 years. 38 years of coaching the Arizona Wildcats track and field program. Ali loves him, not only because he's a longtime head coach of the Wildcats and is just a great dude. He's also a fellow Pittsburgh fan, loves the Steelers.
Yeah.
And
Fred is the best, man. He's just, there's those people in life, you've never seen them in a bad mood. That's Fred Harvey. Now, the players on his track team may disagree. I don't know. But I have never seen Fred Harvey at any event and any place where the guy doesn't have a huge smile on his face and just a warm embrace and greeting every time you see him. Also, I haven't been there yet. Supposedly he's got a man cave, and it's decked out in Steeler stuff to the point where I would be impressed, which, I mean, my law firm is black and gold. We have a Steelers conference room. The Sugar Skulls are black and gold. I'm pretty up there with Steeler fandom.
Sure.
Right. I'm insane to the point where you say the wrong thing and I just snap at you in a totally inappropriate and over the top way. Andrew knows what I'm talking about. That level of insanity, Fred Harvey may be more. So
he's literally got Jack Lambert's teeth.
Jack Lambert's teeth. Jack Lambert wasn't born with teeth.
But Fred Harvey, man, a great career at the University of Arizona. He coached 160 athletes with All-American honors. Wow. 160. 16 of some of those athletes became Olympians.
Yeah.
So he's coached Olympians. He's coached All-Americans. He's won, some of his athletes have won national championships. Just a great dude, great career. Wishing Fred Harvey nothing but the best. Yeah. And now with Fred retiring after this year, the longest tenured coach at the University of Arizona is men's golf head coach Jim Anderson.
Yeah, well, how about that?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jim was hired in, I believe,
definitely doesn't look like it because he's got a very youthful appearance.
100%.
Right?
Great
head of lettuce. Yeah. And great dude. But yeah, I mean, it's going to love Jim, but back to Fred. Whoever takes over that program, they've got a lot to live up to. I mean, Fred had a solid program for, almost 4 decades, like you said. And that's where else? I mean, that's how rare is that to have a guy or a woman coach a college team for almost 4 decades? That's unheard of in this day and age, right? Transfer portal with players is one thing, but the transfer portal was long in existence before the players movement. It was with coaches. Coaches would move around all the time. There was not a lot of Joe Paternos out there, not a lot of, I don't know, coaches that have been there a long time that are synonymous with the institution itself. And so you could say that about Fred Harvey. Fred Harvey is synonymous. His name is synonymous with the University of Arizona.
Yeah, you don't get the long tenured coaches, like you said. I'm trying to think of like another example of like when you think of that pro.
John Wooden,
Coach K.
Yeah, Coach K, John Wooden. I was trying to think in football, Bear Bryant. I mean, I'm trying to think of a more recent example.
I mean, shoot, Mike Candrea.
But,
Caitlin Lowe's doing a great job.
But I'm trying to think of a more recent comparison in football, and I really can't.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can say, okay, well, Nick Saban. Well, Nick Saban also killed it at LSU, too.
I would say the one guy
Michigan
that comes
State.
to mind that's the closest, not even Nick Saban, Michigan State, LSU, Alabama. No, I'm talking about the guy that's been there synonymous with the school, maybe the guy at Utah.
Oh, Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle Whittingham is the guy that in today's day and age, I think is he's the unicorn. There's not a lot of Kyle Whittinghams.
Kenny Dillingham?
We'll see. It's too early.
Yeah.
Too early. Don't make storylines premature. Like you can't make a storyline out of
you can't manifest it.
You can't manifest it.
You got to let it happen.
It's either there or it's not there.
Let
right.
the storyline happen organically.
Exactly.
Don't force it. Don't rush
push it, man. Yeah.
But yeah, Fred Harvey officially retiring after 38 seasons at Arizona.
There's a joke there that's completely inappropriate, which I will hold to myself.
Yes.
But his girlfriend knows what I'm talking about.
What? Stop it. Stop it. All right. Before we talk about SGA and the foul calls and the New York Knicks and Pacers series, another local storyline here. Arizona softball pitcher Aisa Silva has entered the transfer portal just a couple days after the Wildcats lost in the Tucson Regional, and the Mountain View product and Tucson native is entering the portal after 3 seasons at Arizona. She really had a breakout year last year as a sophomore, albeit Devin Netz was sidelined due to injury, so she became the ace pitcher. She led the NCAA in appearances, was one of the top pitchers in the Pac-12, and then when Devin Netz came back, she kind of went into that complementary secondary role, came in as a relief pitcher. So her innings pitch definitely dropped off from last year to this year. And I thought she was going to be in line to be the next ace pitcher because now Arizona, they're losing a bunch of pitchers. They have one coming in the recruiting class. Her name is Riley Holder, and she's from Texas. She's like the 4th best prospect in the nation. So Arizona's getting a pretty damn good freshman pitcher coming in, but I would have thought Aisa Silva would want to be that veteran mainstay right there in the middle, but she wants to explore her options and maybe go somewhere else. And now with donors and boosters stepping up, man, they're throwing money left and right at these softball players. Look at Texas Tech with Nigeri Kennedy. So
yeah,
maybe there's something to do with that.
The norm, but yeah, I can tell you why I think maybe she's doing it and why maybe other players will do it, but we can do it after the break.
All right, we're taking your phone calls, 719-1490, 719-1490. We got more Spears and Ali coming up next. Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson is presented by the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Tucson Federal Credit Union. So we were talking about the notable Tucson storylines happening, and if you want to weigh in on this and let us know what you think about professional baseball coming back to Tucson. I'm excited for the Mexican Pacific Winter League team to relocate and come to Tucson. It's unfortunate that a team had to relocate. I was hoping that maybe there'd be an expansion team that would start in Tucson and maybe somewhere else, but Mayos de Navajoa will relocate to Tucson, Arizona.
Don't feel bad. I can give you a list of all the relocation with departing Tucson, right?
Oh, that's true.
Including bowl game, baseball teams. I mean, no, sorry. I don't.
But I feel for them because we experienced that, right?
Yeah, tough noogies. I mean,
noogies.
Yeah, it's our time. This is our time. This is Tucson's time. Yeah,
Ollie gives me noogies every day.
Yeah. So,
Ollie's gonna go down to Navajo and just be like, boo.
No boo. Just like, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the team.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Kind of like boo.
Yeah. There's no crying in baseball, man. Okay, there's no crying in baseball. So stop crying for people. It's just business, not personal. And when good things happen for Tucson, it's not personal. It's just business. We want good things happening in Tucson.
That's what Reno said in El Paso. It's not personal. It's just business.
Yeah.
Tucson.
That's also what Cutler Beckett said, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this with all due respect. Pima County has been awesome in those efforts. Pima County is a rock star. Visit Tucson's a rock star. City of Tucson, otherwise, do better.
Yeah.
Leadership in Tucson, do better.
Not everybody.
Wholeheartedly
Not
agree.
everybody.
I mean, there's my guy, Paul Cunningham, rock star. But, yeah, it's, I've got, talk about grinding gears. Yeah, this show could get derailed really easy. So what's next on the show?
Well, no, we were talking about not only Mexican baseball coming to Tucson, not just with the Mexican baseball fiesta, but now we're talking about a team here on a full-time basis. What do you guys think about professional baseball coming back to Tucson? Call in at 719-1490, 719-1490. We also talked about Fred Harvey, Arizona track and field head coach, retiring after 38 years on his post. And then Aisa Silva entering the transfer portal, the 3-year Arizona softball pitcher and Tucson native. She's going to end her career somewhere else instead of the hometown Wildcats. And we talked about how, maybe she's exploring her options because maybe she can get more money with revenue share, with NIL. We saw that Texas Tech, they threw literally $1 million at Nigeri Kennedy. And maybe Aisa Silva is like, okay, Athletes Unlimited softball league. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that league and play professionally. I think she's more than capable of it, but maybe Aisa Silva is like, okay, in my final year of playing college softball, maybe I can cash out somewhere else more than here in Tucson, Arizona.
Definitely possible. But you remember what I talked about Monday with respect to Caitlin Lowe and her contract?
Yes.
Okay. She's going into the last year of her contract. And if you don't extend it, that's a vote of no confidence. And you never want a coach that you want to actually be at your university or as coaching your favorite professional football or basketball or baseball team. You never want them going to the last year of their contract because they're basically 2 steps on the plank. I would expect that there's a lot of softball players that with the instability of who's going to be the coach of the Arizona women's softball team in 2 years, I'm going to enter the transfer portal too, because this is the time to enter. I've got, 30 days to figure it out. And that's why Arizona Athletics needs to kind of move pretty quick if you want Caitlin Lowe to lead this program. And I certainly believe strongly that Caitlin Lowe is the right person for the job, and she should be leading the program. Get an extension done sooner rather than later. And then that way that the girls on the team, the women on the team, they know that Caitlin Lowe is going to be the coach. I know the one that just entered the portals going into her last year, but others have multiple years to play.
Yeah.
I want to know who my coach is going to be, not just next year, but after next year. So if you're going to extend Caitlin Lowe, and again, I very strongly believe we should, then let's get to it, sooner rather than later.
And Arizona, they're going to kind of have a overhaul of talent in the pitching rotation because not only are they losing Aisa Silva to the transfer portal, but Devin Netz, the Big 12 Player of the Year, is graduating, and she's going on to bigger and better things in her life. And so they're losing that. They're losing Saya Swain, the graduate transfer. She was one of their better pitchers. And then Miranda Stoddard as well. She's a grad student as well.
Oh,
and so they're losing her. So they're losing their top 3 pitchers, and then Aisa Silva, and then a couple other freshmen entered the transfer portal yesterday too. So I think they only have like 2 scholarship pitchers coming back next season as of now.
Yeah. Well,
and then 3 if you include that recruit.
That's the thing is, I don't know I don't know. Is the recruit at that level where it's like, oh, she's a dominant pitcher. She can step on, the diamond from day one and be that number one. Is there someone else in the transfer portal that Arizona's looking at? But, from my whatever limited knowledge I have of college softball, I do know this: pitching is the most important thing.
Yep.
That helps you be successful. So Arizona's got a lot of work to do to make sure that they're strong in the circle going into the 2026 season.
Well, you can rely on one arm the whole way.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the past, especially with Arizona and Tara Mowat. So
yeah,
should be interesting to see what they do regarding pitching. But Ollie, I did want to talk about the NBA playoffs. And if you want to call in and discuss this, 719-1490. The game one of the Western Conference Finals was last night, and the Oklahoma City Thunder came out and clobbered the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Well, I think clobbered is. I mean, that's certainly the way it ended up. Minnesota was up by 4 points in the like late in the third quarter,
and then the Oklahoma City Thunder and that avalanche in that fourth quarter. When they turn it on, man, the Golden State Warriors are kind of like the greatest show on turf or the greatest show on hardwood. But man, it's very close when they get things going.
The best attribute of any team still remaining in the playoffs is Oklahoma City's defense. And when they really turn it on and they start turning you over and getting runouts to the basket, you're up 2, and the next thing it's like, how are we down 12? I thought that Minnesota, something happened when Anthony Edwards kind of tweaked his ankle at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
He had 18 in the first half. He had 0 in the second half. Julius Randle played beautifully.
He was awesome last night.
But the complementary players didn't really help, and Oklahoma City just kind of rode that defense in the second half. And 15 for 51 from 3-point land for Minnesota, and all those turnovers, it's not going to get it done. Especially, and 88 points certainly isn't going to get it done. So Minnesota needs guys like Naz Reid and McDaniel to step up a little bit. And Anthony Edwards has just got to be that guy that says, I'm the best player on the court, and I'm going to prove it to you every trip on the offensive end. And I didn't see that swagger last night, especially after the first half ended.
Let's talk more about OKC versus Minnesota. Let's also talk about Indiana versus New York. We're talking NBA playoffs right here on Spears and Ali. Blue Moon presents the 17th annual Iron Chef Tucson competition and culinary experience on Saturday, July 26th at Desert Diamond Casino's Diamond Center in Sahuarita. Our guy, Chef Anthony Dromgoole of Oban Sushi and Ramen, will defend his title against Chef Mackenzie O'Leary of Tanque Verde Ranch. And let me tell you, she makes some killer French toast. That French toast at that Meet the Chefs event this past weekend, Andrew and I, we had about a combined, you know what? How about this?
Well, I'm interested in what you say, because I had someone there. Tell me exactly how many you ate.
No, and I was going to say, so combined, I have my number in mind of the amount of servings that I have for Mackenzie O'Leary. I know Andrew's got his number in mind.
Yeah, I'll include my wife too.
Okay,
fine.
So one.
I think Justin maybe beat both of you, but we'll see.
Over under 8.5 pieces of French toast.
I think that you're barely under. Barely under? Barely.
Okay, so I had 4.
Okay, the person that was a spy almost double that is what that person said that you had.
You have a horrendous spy.
Yeah.
So I had 4. Andrew, how many did you have?
I had 3 myself.
Okay.
And Alexis had 3.
Oh, so the over.
Yeah.
Oh, the total over.
Yeah, total.
Oh, my bad. I would have totally gone the over.
Yeah.
I heard the number was 7.
For me and him, yeah.
No, for him.
No. 7?
You said you had 4?
Yeah, I had 4.
Yeah, I had 3. So yeah, 7.
I heard he had 7.
You got a horrendous spy.
Is it Alexis?
I'm not saying, man.
Yeah. Alexis, you better watch yourself, girl.
And that's not counting.
Over here framing me.
By the way, I giggled about this yesterday because Justin came into the show and he's like, Mom, my stomach hurts. I didn't know if I was going to come. I'm so tired, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and I'm like, what'd you do? What'd you eat yesterday? He had French toast with foie gras, which is duck liver.
Yep.
He had
good.
Then you just throw in sushi on there. How many pieces of sushi?
Just 1.
Okay, 1 piece of sushi.
Everything else was 1. That was the only one that I had multiple.
1 serving of pork tenderloin, bacon.
Samples.
It was samples.
Yeah, bacon.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but you had the United Nations in your stomach. And they were arguing over some sanction over some other country. It was like
the sanctions were on Justin's stomach.
Yeah, we do not want to go to committee. We need action now. It was like, yeah, of course your stomach hurts, dude. Yeah. Like you just ate. We are the world, and it's
I had Mexico and France and Japan,
and they were not holding hands, buddy.
The grits had no idea what they were doing there.
Hell no. Yeah, the grits. What is grits? Is that the American side?
I guess
It's like, is grits an American food?
Oh yeah, from the South.
Okay,
yeah, grits is.
That's what I thought.
Well, it might have French origins.
So
yeah,
but yeah,
it was good.
It was so good. And that French toast. Mackenzie O'Leary, yeah, you did your thing.
I don't understand grits. I mean, give me a hash brown over grits any day.
Same.
Grits doesn't make any sense to me.
And I prefer my grits sweet.
Grits have their time and place.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mackenzie O'Leary, she did her thing. She's going to be going up against Anthony Dromgoole of Oban Sushi and Ramen. If you want tickets for this event, go to IronChefTucson.com. And the Iron Chef Tucson competition and culinary experience is brought to you in part by Whiskey Del Bach and Peroni. All right, so we're talking about the NBA playoffs and Oklahoma City Thunder going up 1-0 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, Julius Randle, we did Top 5 Tuesday yesterday, and I ranked the top 5 players that I trust the most in these playoffs, and he cracked that list. And I'm glad that he helped. He kind of backed me up a little bit. 28 points for Julius Randle.
How surprising is it to you before these playoffs started that you would have included Julius Randle on that top 5 list?
Very surprising.
I mean, he has shown up in a way that, we haven't really seen in a long time. I think he works better with Anthony Edwards because he needs some volume. He needs some space. And you don't really get that with Jalen Brunson on your team when you're playing for the Knicks. So right now, we all talk about Anthony Edwards and how great he is. And he is great. But Julius Randle in these playoffs has been, I think, Minnesota's MVP.
100%.
Yeah.
And like you said,
my MVP, because I keep betting him over on the points. And I'm like, I love you, Julius.
Well, and going into this postseason, like you said, like how surprising is it that Julius was on that list? Like if you would have told me at the start of the playoffs, these teams are going to be in the conference finals, rank the 5 players that you trust the most, he wouldn't have made that list. I probably would have put like Miles Turner, Chet Holmgren, Karl Anthony Towns. Like I would have listed a bunch of players ahead of Julius Randle. And now Julius Randle looks like a damn good secondary option. And then, oh, by the way, the Timberwolves also have the Stifle Tower in Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting out Minnesota in this series, but yeah, Julius Randle, the way he's been playing has been awesome. And if they can somehow steal game 2, look out for Minnesota. But man, that's gonna be tough.
We've done a lot of Minnesota talk today. They lost by 26 yesterday.
I know. But I did want to ask you about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the free throws disparity. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, they were 15 for 21. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they were 21 for 26. So not like the biggest disparity. But you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 11 for 14 from the free throw line. The next guy who had the most free throws was Anthony Edwards, and he was 5 for 7.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's a big flopper. And I am right there with those people, man, because there were a couple calls yesterday where like Minnesota just breathed on Shai, and he falls to the ground and will throw up a shot and will somehow make it. And Doris Burke is like, I don't know how he made that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He fell to the floor. He flopped.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. And it kind of reminds me of James Harden a little bit, when James Harden was kind of on his MVP tear and he, went 30 consecutive games of scoring 30 or more points. And a lot of those games, he was getting to the free throw line and getting his points that way. So it's a little James Harden-esque, and I get why people are frustrated.
I get why people are frustrated too, but I think SGA is getting look, the one thing about these playoffs that I think has been a constant is that the officials have let the guys play for the most part. I think it's been very physical playoffs, and he's getting fouls that nobody else seems to get. But man, when you take it, whatever sport you're at, but when you're aggressive and you take it to the defense, you're more likely to get those calls. Anthony Edwards should take a page out of SGA's book and be more aggressive going to the basket, and maybe he'll get some of those calls and be at the line more himself. So,
well, yeah, he only had 2 points in the paint in the second half.
Yeah, man, you're not going to beat OKC if you're just, shooting jumpers all the time. So, to me, yes, you're right. it seems like he gets calls that no one else is really getting these playoffs. Maybe him and Jalen Brunson, but what is the two common denominators with those two guys? They both are very aggressive, taking to the basket and either getting contact or initiating contact. And it's when that happens, it's very hard for the official, which is a really hard job, not to call something. So, there's no preferential treatment. No one's, cheating or anything like that. SGA is creating circumstances where you're more likely to get a whistle than not. And that's what makes him a great player.
All right, we'll talk more NBA playoffs, and we got to talk about Cheers, man.
I know, man.
R.I.P. to the legend. We're going to talk about Cheers.
George Wendt.
And our guy George Wendt coming up next here on Spears and Ali. Stay tuned. Man, rest in peace to the legend George Wendt from Cheers. You've seen him in a lot of other roles too. He was also on the George Wendt Show. That was a CBS sitcom show. Not as successful as Cheers, but George Wendt, man, a comedian, actor.
Was it on CBS or NBC?
I'm pretty sure it was on CBS.
I don't think you're right.
I think NBC had Cheers.
I'm not freeform.
I'm looking at it right now. It says after Cheers ended, he starred in his own short-lived CBS sitcom, The George Wendt Show.
I pulled a Justin. I didn't listen to you. Yeah, Cheers was on NBC. Yes. I thought you said it was on CBS.
Yes.
I misheard what you said.
So Cheers was on NBC. The George Wendt Show was on CBS. And regardless, man.
Where comedies go to die.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to George Wendt, passing away in his L.A. home at the age of 76 years old. And we have a clip to honor George Wendt. Here it is.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Norm. What's the story, Norm?
Thirsty guy walks into a bar. You finish it. Afternoon, everybody.
Norm!
Norman. What you up to, Norm? My ears. Evening, everybody.
Norman.
What's new, Norm? Most of my wife. Evening, everybody.
Norman.
Beer, Norm?
Nah, I probably just drink it. Afternoon, everybody.
Norman.
What's doing, Norm?
Well, science is seeking a cure for thirst. I happen to be the guinea pig. Evening, everybody.
Beer, Norm?
That's that sudsy amber stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing good things about it. Afternoon, everybody.
What can I do for you, Norm?
Well, I am going to need something to kill time before my second beer. How about a first one?
You got it.
Howdy, sports fans.
What'll it be, Norm?
Fame, fortune, fast women.
Yeah? How about a beer?
Even better.
That's awesome. Norm!
Right. You like storylines, right?
Yeah, I love storylines.
Well, the last episode of Cheers
Man.
aired on May 20th, 1993.
No way.
George Wendt passed away 32 years later on the same day.
To the day.
It's poetic, man.
And he was in the last scene with Ted Danson of Cheers. I think there's a reason for it that he was such a part of that show. My favorite two kind of things related to Norm. I mean, Cheers for me, my age group, must see TV, man. I mean, there was two things me and my fraternity guys, we got together for religiously when it aired, right? Because that was a time there's no Netflix, nothing. You couldn't record anything. You watch it or you're going to see a rerun in the summer, hopefully. And it was David Letterman and Cheers. And those were must watch every single week at Sigma Chi fraternity and places, households all over the country. But my favorite two things was he walked in and they said, "Norm, how you doing?" And he said, "It's a dog eat dog world and I'm wearing milk bone underwear."
Yeah.
So it was a rough day for our guy Norm that day. And then the other one that I always thought was hilarious is so Fraser Crane married Edith and they had a baby and the baby was 11 months old. Fraser brought the baby to the bar because it wasn't saying any words. He's like, well, if I bring it to the bar, they hear the chatter. Maybe he says, he learns and he says a word. And so Edith comes in and is like, why would you bring the baby to the bar? The baby's not going to learn anything in this kind of environment. Norm walks in and the baby goes, "Norm."
That's a fantastic scene.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
George Wendt, it was also the uncle of Jason Sudeikis. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Until just now.
And also his godfather.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another fun George Wendt stat. So he went to the University of Notre Dame. So he's originally from Chicago, Illinois. And
Or no stat. Where you're going with this.
Yeah. A lot of people in Chicago, they dream of going to Notre Dame. And, he was at Notre Dame, and he got expelled during the first semester of his junior year for posting a 0.00 GPA.
I mean, you got to try to get that. I mean, that's not I'm not trying. It's like, no, you got to try to get a 0.00 GPA.
Dude, you didn't even show up to class. You didn't do anything. But apparently it was due to challenges associated with living in an off-campus apartment without transportation during the winter. As we all know, South Bend, Indiana gets very cold. It's very hard to move around when it's that cold, but
every day.
Not every day.
I mean, I'm pretty sure school starts about, in August. There's no snow on the ground.
That's true. That's very true. But he later attended Jesuit Rockhurst College in Kansas City, Missouri, and graduated with a BA in economics in 1971. And then he used that economic degree and went into acting and became a pretty damn good one at that.
Famously warmer place. Kansas City,
exactly. Baby. He's like, there's no snow here.
He learned from his mistake. He moved closer to campus.
Yeah, he bought a snowmobile.
That sounds like one of those excuses that's like, but it's September.
Yeah. Too much snow on the ground.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to class. Well, the humidity. I mean, it's humidity or snow.
Yeah.
He also
too much Malort.
He was also in the Saturday Night Live. He was actually the host of one of the shows.
He was,
and some very famous The Bears scenes with George Wendt. The Bears. Yeah.
He also got into theater as well. He was in Hairspray, was also in Elf, the musical on Broadway, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and he was in a handful of music videos too. He was in Ghostbusters, Black or White by Michael Jackson. He played the dad at the start of that. So the dude's a freaking legend. Rest in peace, George Wendt, a.k.a. Norm from Cheers.
Norman.
All right, coming up next, former Arizona basketball player Joseph Blair joins us in studio. Don't miss this one. You're listening to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson, brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Happy Hump Day to all. I know we said in the last break that we were going to get former Arizona Wildcat and NBA coach Joseph Blair to join us in studio, but I think JB is caught up in traffic, so we shall move on.
Yeah.
Hopefully JB can join us in studio at some point this hour, or maybe we can get him on for tomorrow's episode of Spears and Ali. But I did want to talk about the major storyline happening in Tucson, Arizona. We're also going to get into the NBA playoffs as well and talk about the Knicks Pacers series, which I can't wait for. But Ali, we discussed professional baseball coming back to Tucson, Arizona, and the Mexican Pacific Winter League. They're going to relocate a team, the Mayos de Navajoa. They're going to move them to the United States and play at Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium, where they will be not just Tucson's team, but they're going to be America's team, which I'm very happy about.
That's the plan. A lot of moving pieces still, a lot of moving parts, but Lev's got his sources. So, I've been behind the scenes on this whole thing, but very small part. And guys like Blake Eager and Felipe Garcia with Visit Tucson, which Visit Tucson does a great job of not just helping a lot of events and things that happen here in town maintain success, but they bring a lot of things here. Felipe was a big part of bringing baseball back. Blake Eager, Ray Flores, El Charro Restaurants, another big advocate. So, do business with businesses that make your community a better place. El Charro, my guy Grant Kruger at Union, Reforma, Proof. I mean, those guys do a lot that they don't go out there and say, hey, I sprained my shoulder, patting myself on the back. Look what I did. They just do it, and they make Tucson better. So support them, especially during the summer months. Summer months, man, restaurants, especially local, it's slow. So if you're going to go to a restaurant, please think about going to a local restaurant in the summer if you're a local Tucsonan and not you're not in San Diego with the other half of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do in Tucson.
Huh?
You got a lot of local businesses here in Tucson.
Absolutely.
A lot, man. So I just no offense to the chain restaurants, but they've got more. They've got more wherewithal because they're part of a national brand. So I would just say if you got local owners, local restaurants, local vendors in general, and you're looking to do anything that might include what they provide, go local.
Local's good, man. And if you wanted all national chains here, that's just a dystopian future that I don't want to be a part of.
No, you know what that's called?
Hell?
Phoenix.
I was going to say Yuma.
Yuma's got a great local Mexican restaurant in
Just
that
one.
little. Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't.
Is it like a little hole in the wall?
It might have more, but it's kind of like in that around that strip mall area where you go to the gas station to get gas on the way to San Diego.
Yuma.
Yeah,
The entirety of Yuma.
yeah. I mean, actually, Yuma's grown quite a bit in the last 10 years.
2 gas stations?
No,
That's crazy.
It's bigger, dude. It's bigger than that.
Such a hater.
You know, they got a all boys boarding school in Yuma that's like pretty distinguished in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool to go to.
I know.
Ooh, let's go see the boarding school in Yuma. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. It's like, Dad, can I just go to military school?
But going back to pro baseball being here in Tucson, this has been building up to this moment. And Tucson did a lot to try out the city and show the Mexican Pacific Winter League. Like, yes, we have the Mexican Baseball Fiesta here come by every October, which is like their equivalent to spring training. But why not have a team here full time? And so with the Mexican Baseball Fiesta being here for the last decade, and then the World Baseball Classic qualifiers coming here, and then Pima County and Blake Eager and his team and Visit Tucson, I mean, they dumped a ton of money into Keno. I think well over $1 million worth of renovations. And
the baseball players and Major League Baseball representatives that were there were very impressed.
Yeah.
With the facility and the quality of the field.
Yeah.
So,
I talked to the president of the World Baseball Classic, and he was like, listen, I don't know the future of professional baseball in Tucson. I can only talk about really the WBC, but like you look at the grass, you look at the facilities, you look at everything here, and why wouldn't you have a team here?
Yeah.
It makes way too much sense for Tucson to have a professional baseball team. And you also look at the support too. And I know that, it was tough for some people to get out to the World Baseball Classic in the middle of the week, in the middle of the afternoon, to go support them. But, there were butts and seats. Credit to World Baseball Classic for getting kids from the elementary school to come out and support baseball, and getting baseball fans to buy into the sport at an early age, because, all of us growing up, we all went to High Corbett or TEP/Keno, and we all grew up as baseball fans. Unfortunately for these kids, they don't have that.
Yeah.
And so they introduced live baseball to these kids. And now there's a bunch of little boys and girls around Tucson that love baseball. And now that it's back here on a full-time basis, or at least it's getting to that point, right? Nothing is official, but it's like, 90 to 95% certain that it's going to happen. Now that there's a professional baseball team here, man, Tucson, Arizona, I mean, we love our sports, but man, baseball, we've been hungry for the professional baseball team to finally come back here and call Tucson home.
Yeah. And, you kind of reflected on it, but more specifically, you got to give a lot of credit and thanks to guys like Mike Fader, who kept the light on with Mexican Baseball Fiesta, right? And then you've talked about Blake. I mean, the WBC was the tryout for Can Baseball Succeed, and the WBC was a huge success. Even though it was like a Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, there's still people were excited about it, and they showed up.
Yeah, I was there on the school field trip day that they had that morning. I forget who exactly. I think it was Germany versus Brazil or something like that. And these kids were going crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool. Like, these kids maybe never seen a professional baseball game ever in their lives. And they're like losing their minds at every pitch, like just hanging on every event in the game. It was so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
And it wasn't just because Andre Agassi's son was throwing to Manny Ramirez's son. They
No,
had no idea.
I genuinely don't.
They had no idea who
Yeah.
Andre Agassi or Manny Ramirez are.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Like, Dante Bichette Jr.
yeah,
That's a name.
His
Yeah.
dad must also be Dante.
Yeah. But you and what you maybe people that don't know about the Mexican League is there are a number of either major league or major league caliber players on those rosters. I mean, there is quite a distinguished alumni list of players in the major leagues that played in the Mexican Baseball League. So it's high quality baseball, man. These guys are really good.
And not to mention like a high number of fans already in Tucson for Mexican teams.
Yeah.
Like I always see like Naranjeros, the Hermosillo, like hats, and Yaquis hats all over town.
So we need to come up with a really cool logo. We need to come up with a cool name.
Ooh, what's the name of? Well, I think
there you go. There's your that'll get your social media engine running.
What should be the name of Tucson's professional baseball team? I think they should be the Toros.
I don't think that's. I know a lot of people are going to say that. I don't think so.
Or Toros de Tucson.
What about the Vaqueros?
The Cowboys?
Yeah,
not bad.
I like it
because every team is like the something their city, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be the Tucson, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Something de Tucson. Vaqueros de Tucson.
Vaqueros de Tucson. It's
like I said, Tucson Toros or Toros de Tucson to keep that name. You can still have the color scheme, right? Go red and black. But yeah, there's something there.
I just think merchandise sales, man. I mean, you need a cool logo, you need a cool name, and it should be out of the box a little bit, right? And I give my credit to my guy, my guys, literally Kevin and Kathy Guy, when they're like, we were going for a logo and they're like, what do you think about Sugar Skulls? And I'm like, and then they showed me the logo. I'm like, yeah, that's it. It's one of the most unique logos and names in all of sports. So,
and it also pays homage to the history of Tucson, Arizona, and Dia de los Muertos as well. So there's that connection as well.
I guess it could be the Tucson free Suntran bus rides. I don't know. I mean,
Tucson Carne Seca.
Yeah, that seems like a really great idea.
Ooh,
yeah, Carne Seca.
Touch the nerve.
Yeah. No, Carne Seca is good. I was talking about the free Suntran rides.
Yeah.
Awesome idea. So yeah, I think Carne Seca.
It's not bad.
The chimichangas.
That's
Tucson?
the Fletcher McCusker, my buddy from Rio Nuevo and very prominent businessman here in Tucson. He would be number one asking for the Tucson chimichangas.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think should be the new name of Arizona's professional baseball team in the Mexican Pacific Winter League? Call in at 719-1490, 719-1490.
Chimichangas could at least be a alternate, like, how they do like the 2-game alternate appearances in minor league.
I actually love it, man, because
especially with El Charro,
home runs, all the great Mexican restaurants here in town. I went to Teso Oro on Oracle last week. Excellent. Great decor. Beautiful. Inside bar's great.
The ambiance.
Ambiance is fantastic. The food is really good.
I love that you can just trip over delicious Mexican food in Tucson.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
I'm leaning towards a Mexican food kind of logo brand. I mean, home runs, we throw a bunch of chimichangas in the air. I don't know.
Tortillas. Let's make it
tortillas the Tucson.
I was gonna say let's keep it clean for the folks that are cleaning up this the stadium after the game.
You can't make it like overkill, right? So like if anybody hits 3 home runs in a game, it's you got to have a tortilla toss, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody's got 2 home runs and they come to bat, like the ushers should be there ready with bags of tortillas.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that professional baseball is back here in Tucson. We've been wanting it for a long time. We've been talking about it. And like I said, there's been so much buildup, after the Tucson Padres went to El Paso and became the Chihuahuas, after the Tucson Sidewinders went to Reno and became the Aces. We've seen 2 professional baseball teams connected to the MLB come here and then leave.
Yeah.
And, since then, Tucson, Pima County, we've been wanting professional baseball back here. And we've done the Mexican Baseball Fiesta. We've done the World Baseball Classic. We had the big showcase game from the Mexican Pacific Winter League where it was broadcasted on YouTube and it had this whole production. Like they tried out for this, and now they finally got it. And I'm just excited that it's going to be back here, and it's going to be played during obviously the winter months.
Yeah,
which is good weather
the
down here
be
in
nice,
Tucson.
yeah, for the most part. And that's why I'll never root for the Diamondbacks. I'll never root for them because they logistically, there's no better place to have your AAA team if you have a team in Phoenix than in Tucson. So to put it in Reno, I mean, it's just a kick to the cojones for Tucson. Like there was no, you just knew you were hurting this town, and you knew it probably costs more to have that team in Reno, especially the travel back and forth. So I will never root for the Diamondbacks. I don't care ever. I'll never root for the Arizona Cardinals because they're really the Phoenix Cardinals. They do nothing in Tucson. James Conner came here a couple of weekends ago, did a great camp, but did that on his own. Cardinals didn't when's the last time a Cardinals player was in Tucson doing anything? Right. So
one of them had lunch with you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, James Conner did, but I mean, he's a great dude. And yeah, that was just because I knew his agent, and they wanted me to show him U of A football facility. And then I took him to lunch at El Charro. But that was James Conner. Mm-hmm. That wasn't James Conner, Arizona Cardinal, representing his organization. That was James Conner on his own coming to Tucson doing a camp.
That's true.
So I will root for I don't like the Suns, but I give them some credit. They used to come here and play exhibition games at McHale Center. I think they should do that again. But man, if you want to build a tradition of fandom that's statewide, then you got to be statewide, engaged statewide. And right now, just I'm not feeling it. And no Cardinals, no Diamondbacks for me. And if anybody says they're a Cardinals fan in Tucson, my question is the same as if you said you're a Colorado Rockies fan or a Cleveland Browns fan. Why? Because you know what?
Cardinals are like number 5 on that list.
Well, yeah, so
that's generous.
My question is always this. Tell me how much more the Cardinals do in Tucson than the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, Jordan Morgan, he's a Green Bay Packer, and he does stuff in Tucson. So technically the Green Bay Packers do more than the Arizona
Atlanta
Cardinals.
Falcons. The Carolina Panthers are probably going to do it because guess what? T-Mac and Lathan, I bet you they have a camp in Tucson. And Bijan's has stuff in Tucson. He sponsors a bunch of kids coming to the Arizona Bowl every year. And Jordan Morgan's going to have stuff in Tucson. So it's those teams technically do more in Tucson than the professional football team 100 miles up the road. And it's criminal.
All right, let's take a phone call here. 719-1490. We got Viking Tony joining the show. What's up, Tone?
Okay, well, don't get me started on the Cardinals. They charge their players to feed them, so they are carpetbaggers, cheap. So for them to call themselves the Arizona Cardinals, at least the Phoenix Suns say Phoenix Suns, and you know what that's about right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so forget. But I'm calling in for the name. I got 3 names for you.
All right.
Sentinels. Then we can have a big saguaro. Sentinels of the desert. Sentinels. Okay, that's one. The second one would be kind of a plug for wrestling programs, since we're on a roll with the baseball program, bringing wrestling back to the U of A for those kids that are on wrestlers, and they don't have to go to Pennsylvania or Phoenix, but we could call them luchadores. Luchadores.
Hey.
That's wrestler in Spanish.
I don't
then,
dislike that at all.
My favorite is sort of symbolic of recent Tucson, Hacienda of Homeless. They're all over, so that could be one. I'm just saying. But I love the idea that we're getting a baseball team. I would love to see a wrestling program back. And Tucson's booming, man. We got some people that are waking up saying, hey, this is a great community. Let's share it. Let's open it up to the world.
Luchadores de Tucson, man.
I like that.
I like it.
They're here. Yeah.
I like it. And the Dodgers, they did.
Hacienda Homeless. Hacienda Homeless. We could call H&H. H&H. Homeless. Hacienda Homeless. H&H, maybe. Maybe that's too close to a realtor. I don't know. Agency. So anyway, go Vikings!
Thanks, Tony.
And go Tucson.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Love you. First of all, the last one, hilarious. Unfortunately, 2 maybe spot on right now. But I do like Luchadores.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Luchadores de Tucson. All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali, our guy, Joseph Blair, He's in the house. He joins us next. Stay tuned. Blue Moon presents the 17th annual Iron Chef Tucson competition and culinary experience on Saturday, July 26th at Desert Diamond Casino's Diamond Center in Sahuarita. Anthony Dromgoole of Oban Sushi and Ramen, he's going to defend his title against Chef Mackenzie O'Leary of Tanque Verde Ranch. This is going to be an epic event. You don't want to miss out on it. Get your tickets by going to IronChefTucson.com. And the Iron Chef Tucson competition and culinary experience is brought to you in part by Whiskey Del Bach and Peroni. So we're going to have Joseph Blair join us here in just a few minutes to talk about him opening up a basketball court in Tucson, Arizona. Joseph Blair played for the University of Arizona in the 90s, was a part of that 1994 Final Four team, went on to have a professional career, became one of the greatest Italian basketball players overseas, and then got into coaching and won a G League championship, has been an assistant coach in the NBA. We're going to talk to him about what it was like coaching guys like Karl Anthony Towns and some of the other players that are currently in the NBA playoffs right now. He's going to join us here in a few moments after his interview with our guy Frank on KLPX. But I did want to talk about our new segment that we're doing every single week.
Every Wednesday.
It is Weird Sports Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah,
we're in there.
But yeah, we want to, we always talk about, stuff that's happening, nationally with the NBA playoffs, with the NFL, other Major League Baseball. Of course, we take pride in talking about the Arizona Wildcats and talking about all of the great things that are happening right here in Tucson, Arizona. But sometimes we just like to throw some fun stuff at you that you probably didn't know about. And Andrew has shouldered this responsibility. And let me tell you, I love Andrew. I think he is the best. But my goodness, this man has an affinity for just the randomest sports ever. Like, he's like, hey, guys, so I was watching Australian underwater basket weaving last night. And, man, boy, howdy, I'll tell you, ESPN 8 The Ocho, they have a great broadcast.
Electric competition, my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
I just watched the soapbox derby races.
Did you really?
I did. They're great.
It's in great news for our the guy that's commenting on our YouTube channel that he's not a real big fan of me and Justin, but loves Andrew. So
the dude, and I quote, the dude with the beard is cool.
Yeah. With hashtag at I live in my mom's basement 1234.
I'll take it.
Yeah. You know, that's just Andrew's burner account, right? Just trolling us.
Oh, could you imagine this entire time?
I can't imagine. It's like, I'm gonna mess with you. I know
That'd be a
Justin's
god
gonna be
level
tough.
troll.
That is,
especially this week of all weeks to mess with Justin.
I know
with all of the stuff you got going on with your bathroom at home.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
All right, so we need like da-da-da-da-da. Weird Sports Wednesday by Andrew Trujillo. Go ahead.
You guys like cheese?
Oh, yeah.
Love cheese.
Queso. You ever had Gloucestershire double? I think it's called double cream or something like that.
No, is that
Gloucestershire
goat cheese?
just double cheese.
Is that
I actually don't know what kind of cheese it is, but would you ever run down a hill for cheese?
Yes.
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 Would you run down a hill that is a 50% grade for cheese?
Could I? I mean, when you say run,
I mean run.
No.
I mean cook it.
Yeah.
Because this Monday, the 26th, I think it is. At, I guess it would be 4 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, noon British Standard Time, is the annual Gloucestershire cheese rolling competition at Cooper's Hill in Brockworth, which is an annual tradition that's apparently been around for like 600 years, so they say. The first documented case of it was 1826, I believe, where they held a competition. They take a big wheel of Gloucestershire cheese and they roll it down the hill at Cooper's Hill. And it is a 50% grade. First person at the bottom gets the cheese. And it's
the prize?
That's the prize, is the cheese.
What if the cheese doesn't make it to the bottom of the hill?
It makes it to the bottom of the hill.
It does? Okay.
Yeah. It gets a 1 second head start from the pack, and it can reach speeds of 80 miles an hour.
Oh, good God. I need video.
There's videos all over YouTube. I will show you guys. It is insane.
Brockworth. I like Brockworth with like onions and if they've got like some peppers. So Brockworth and cheese.
Yeah.
Go together.
But the same pub in Brockworth, England has been Brockworth, Gloucestershire, I guess, England, has been doing this event for the last at least 150 years.
Yeah.
And it's to promote the cheese of the region, the bar itself, and afterwards the winners usually just open up the wheels of cheese and everybody has cheese and beer at the end of the competition. But it's become like an international thing. Last year, one of the women's races was won by an American. She's actually the 2-time defending champion of that women's race for the cheese. A German by the name of Kopka, I believe it was.
Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, no, Tom Kopka from Germany won the first men's race in 2024.
I was thinking Kafka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's pledged to defend his title this year.
Oh, wow.
Australian competitor Dylan Twiss won the second men's race in 2024. Abby Lamp, she's from North Carolina, won the women's race. That's the second time. And local lad Joshua Shepard won the final men's race of 24, bringing it home for Brockworth for his second championship.
How come everybody's name has something to do with food?
Right?
Right? That's crazy, right? It's like something related. You got lamb, you got a shepherd.
Yeah.
You got some twists, which I think is like a ice cream. But
Left twist or right twist?
Obviously this is the first time I've ever heard this, and great coming out of the gate on Weird Sports Wednesday.
Thank you. It's this Monday. You
But
can
you
watch it
know-
on the BBC app.
But with 100% certainty, this idea was a couple of dudes sitting in a bar.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Or a pub, sorry. Sitting in a pub going,
Yeah.
you know what we should do?
Dude, and people get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, they have like the English like rugby teams and police and stuff like straight up at the bottom of the hill to catch people so that they don't run headlong into the chain link fence that's at the bottom of the
There's
hill.
a fence?
Yeah. It's to stop the cheese.
Well, yeah, the cheese has to stop, and then
Otherwise it hits the bar and then no one has
Could
fun.
just had like a flexible netting.
I guess.
like a soccer net.
It's insane though, man. The local like
And they're like, why add the why add the spikes on the barbed wire? Yeah, why?
well, and this hill is not just a hill, it's like a pockmarked hill with like literally stinging nettles and holes, and it's like eroding completely. It is.
Yeah, this was definitely this originated from dudes in a pub.
It's not for the faint of heart, man.
Well, and I also feel like maybe they were fighting over this cheese or like a
Maybe.
wheel of cheese, and it was like the last one. And like, well, how about this? Let's race for it.
Yeah.
And let's up the stakes. Let's make it
Mhm.
downhill and let's roll it.
Yeah,
And first one who tackles it gets the cheese.
Yeah, and it's no teeny little like park hill. It is a hill. I think it's like 150 yards long.
At a
something like that.
50% grade.
At a 50% grade.
Yeah, people are going head over shoulders.
Oh yeah. Every single time.
So this is
people
like
wear like costumes and stuff. I've seen guys go down it in Speedos.
okay, so like Tumamoc Hill. We've all been up Tumamoc Hill,
Yeah.
right?
You know that part of Tumamoc where it literally is like
Yeah.
The
you're
second
rock
to last
climbing?
turn.
Imagine running down that as fast as you can
For 150 yards.
Jeez.
for cheese.
After a wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
An
it's not
entire
a
wheel
block
of
because it wouldn't roll, right?
Big old wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah.
Watch it 4 a.m. Monday morning on the BBC app.
Before you can
Or
tune
on
into
YouTube
Spears and
later.
Ali.
It's gonna be great.
We'll be on our YouTube channel. We may be showing some clips of that.
Now, do you have to share the cheese? Is that like
guess you don't
an
have to.
unwritten rule?
It just
Justin.
becomes
Justin,
Well, no, because like let's say
do I have to share the cheese? Is his number one question?
well, if you can get away with it after running down that hill as beat up as you probably will be.
do you want to
you
not
probably
share that
deserve it.
cheese after it's been rolling down a hill?
well, let's say oh, that's true.
Well, it's bundled up, like it's like packaged,
Oh
you know.
wow!
And
Not well,
Like in
you
that
know.
red plastic, like the cheese you get with the red
It's
plastic.
like
over
a
it?
paper, but yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
But
you're
it's
not
like it's like ready to ship kind of thing.
I was like, you're not picking out grass when you eat this cheese. But I was gonna say, like,
Well,
let's say I'm from the United States.
Yeah.
I want to bring this cheese back home.
well, you, could- you
Is
you
it gonna get
probably-
through TSA?
You probably bring
Can
a
I-
piece of it.
Can I bring it? Okay.
I'd imagine so. You might have to get it like sealed or something, but it's just Gloucester cheese.
This might carry on. Yeah, it's a big wheel
a
of
40-pound wheel of cheese.
All right.
All right, man, good job
Yeah,
on
sure.
Weird Sports Wednesday.
Thank you.
Talking about
Yay.
cheese competition.
Heck yeah, man. Go
Yay.
watch it straight. It's brutal.
And that's your Weird Sports Wednesday by Andrew Trujillo.
4 a.m. Monday morning.
All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali,
It's like the ambiguously happy duo.
we're gonna have Joseph Blair. Joseph Blair. Finally, we get JB on the show. We're supposed to get him on at the top of 8 o'clock hour. Coming to find out, he went to the wrong radio station. He's so used to doing interviews with the other guys. He went there and was like, "Oh wait, I think I'm in the wrong place. I'll be there in 15 minutes." Well, JB is finally here, And we're going to get him on the show to talk about coaching in the NBA, kind of what he's been up to. And he has a plan to open up a basketball court on the behalf of his late mother, Judith Blair, he had a great relationship with. And, Joseph Blair, like all of us here in the Spears and Ollie studio, he is a mama's boy. So we're going to talk about opening up the Judith Blair court, and we're going to catch up with JB coming up next.
You are listening to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4. And we've got a very, very smiley face, happy Justin Spears walking in the studio. He looks pleased. Something is happening, which has brought him great joy. And I'm warning those of you that cross paths with him today, you're going to get a lot of love from Justin Spears today. We also got probably the second most handsome bald guy in Tucson right now, Joe Blair, to join the show.
The fact that you just called me Joe, I'm not going to take
The
offense to
Joseph,
that, but
yeah.
if we're going to be friends, you're going to call me JB or Joseph.
Ow. You know what? I'm gonna JB, I'm gonna make up for that right now. Because you watch, I'm sure, a lot of college basketball. You've coached at the NBA level, coached at the G League. Buddy, your game in the inside is a lost art. The next time a big man does an up and under is the first time I've seen an up and under in a long time. Where is the up and under dead? Because that's a great move. I got Ed Stokes on it at the U of A practice facility.
I'll be honest. I think post ups are dead.
Yeah,
unless you're Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
no one else is doing that. Even the greatest big men we have right now, which is probably Jokic and Joel Embiid. They're more nail post-up guys than block post-up guys. And the main reason for that, just you guys know, is because you can't double team someone at the nail. When they're at the nail, for those who don't know or are somewhat basketball illiterate, is right that actually when you shoot a free throw, right dead center on the free throw line, there's a nail. And every basketball court you'll ever go to is right there dead center. We call it the nail. So those guys actually work more of the nail. You look Jokic, Porzingis, they're all grabbing the ball right there because you can't double team them there. So I think the up and under is becoming more of an art with our guards now because they drive. And if you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what he does, he gets to the paint, fakes, up and unders, and makes a basket.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lost art with the big guys, but it's not with the guards. It's kind of just transfer. The game's evolving. We all know this, right?
Yeah. What maybe kind of you made the point, but with the 3-pointer being so popular now, you would think that being on the block, getting the big man the ball down there that can pass like Jokic would clear it up to get more open threes. Am I wrong about that?
Well, first of all, if you're going to hold the standard by the way Jokic passes, then you've already made a big faux pas right there because he passes. Tell me another big man in the NBA that passes the way he does.
Nobody.
Jackson Hayes? No.
Come on. No disrespect to you, Mr. Hayes, whatsoever, but it's a different player completely. So I think that it's not going to be like that because of that, because it's too easy to double team. And most of big men don't have vision on the court like that where they can see what's happening behind them. So you're really limiting your whole offense to one side of the court, and actually more of a 1/3 of the court. I like to call it as different thirds. You have the outer third, middle third, the outer third. So you're really limiting everything to 1/3 of the court because you're missing everything that's behind you. So if you don't have a super effective post player, you're not going to do it. And I hate to say this because most basketball fans don't like to hear this nowadays, but the analytics suggest that you should not post up. It is not effective field goal effective shot. But there are those guys that are, Joel Embiid being one of them.
Yeah.
We're talking to former Arizona Wildcat Joseph Blair here on ESPN at Tucson. And JB, you're in town. One, you love coming back to Tucson and visiting us.
I got to move this mic so you can see me better in my face.
Oh, yeah,
sorry
man.
for the people on the radio. I actually have a face for podcasts, not for radio like these guys.
Yeah. Hey, fair. I mean,
Fair,
especially when
fair.
it comes to the two of you.
Yeah. But JB, man, you're here to talk about you're trying to open up a basketball court here in Tucson. Is that right?
Yeah. I am working with the city of Tucson. It's kind of spearheaded by Councilmember Cunningham. So mad props to my boy Paul for doing this. We're Palo Verde Park out on the east side. We're refurbishing it. They had some tennis courts there. We really weren't being utilized whatsoever. So we're kind of ripping those down, building 2 full court basketball courts right there, repaving it, making a nice court. It'll have different high school line, college line, NBA lines. We're putting a top over it with some solar paneling for some lighting. We'll have scoreboard up there, a couple stands on the sides. It's actually going to be utilized by some of the schools in the area as well. So we're just doing that. I'm trying to do it all to honor my mother. So it'll be the Judith Blair Courts. But, I do need help fundraising, so you guys can dig into your pockets, both of you guys. I'll make sure I have a conversation offline with you guys as well. But also anyone in the community, if you guys want to help with it, my mother is an amazing woman. She loves the city of Tucson. And I think the one big reason I want to pay homage to her with this, my love of basketball came from my mom. I wasn't really into basketball. She was crazy about basketball. She was actually my first coach when I was in Little League. She coached me and my brother and kind of pushed me upon the trajectory that brought me to Arizona in the first place. So,
wow.
And she was always a big advocate for equality in sports. When she was in high school, they did not have a girls basketball team or any girls sports whatsoever. And you can imagine she was a twin of a boy. So her brother got to do everything. She got to do nothing, even though she, by my mother's testament, she was faster than him and could shoot the ball better than him.
Yeah.
So this is just a great opportunity for me to pay homage to my mom and just, her love for the city of Tucson, the community of Tucson, I like to call it more so than the city, and just, her love of basketball as well. And I think it's just a great project. So anyone want to jump on, donate some money to it. I need the help now. The city's putting up some bond money, but I got to raise some money on my side too. JudithBlairCourts.com. Go on there. You can donate some money. Help your boy out, please. Help my mom out. Come on, do it for my mother.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and speaking of which, you mentioned how your mom pushed you to basketball, and then you played. You became great. You played at the University of Arizona. You played professionally. What was it like having her along with the journey and her being kind of with you while you were playing basketball and growing up?
I mean, I think for anyone that has a parent that got you into sports, to be able to excel at that sport and see my mother's face beaming with pride is something that to this day, fills my heart with joy and love. So it's a great thing. I just know that even when I left here, I started coaching here at Arizona, for those who don't know, and then I went on to coach in the G League before moving to the NBA. And I remember my mom would tell me, yeah, I'm trying to get everyone to show up to go watch your game at this place. And I'm like, Mom, I'm just coaching. At the beginning, I was back of the bench coach. You couldn't even see me unless you really looked hard during a game. But she was like, no, we need to be there, support you. So I just, it's an amazing situation. I hope more people are fortunate enough to have that feeling that I have when it comes to my mom backing me in sports. I dare say there's not one person that's ever a bigger fan of Joseph Blair than Mama Blair was.
Yeah, and we went to U of A at the same time, but I think I knew your mom a lot better than you. She was a force of nature. Every event, promoting things, a dancer, a senior Olympian. And when Adia Barnes came to town, even before that, she was the #1 advocate for women's basketball at Arizona. I mean, she was, if Judith Blair asked you to do something, the answer no was not in the vocabulary at all. So, man, your mom was incredible. And I think honoring her with this court is such a great idea. I will donate to this court. We're going to have to work on these guys. I'm just telling you right now.
First of all, we have this recorded, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we know he's going to.
Yeah.
What about you?
Of course.
See, I'm calling these guys out right now on air. I got it. Video.
Of course.
Come on over here.
Yes.
Give up lunch one day. Just give me the money.
There you go.
I'll buy you lunch and then you pay for this. Yeah, but we're getting some.
JudithBlairCourt.com.
Judith Blair Courts.
So JudithBlairCourts.
Courts.com. By the way, I want to chime in on something you guys were talking about earlier. The baseball team name.
Yeah.
Because I was listening and I want to say what I think. I think this should be the Bandidos.
Ooh.
Tucson Bandidos. Ah, mira.
Yeah.
Te gusta, ¿no?
Me gusta mucho.
Or we need to make it a homage to Tucson, Star Pass, the Trailblazers. Tucson Trailblazers, if you want to get the double T action going.
I like it, man.
I
love alliteration.
You see, I gave this some thought.
I love it, man.
I like bandits. And, people are like, oh, bandits, do we want to associate our community with blah, 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 blah. No, bandits is a good name. We have a cool logo.
Sugar Skull thing. You'll have a super cool logo.
Yes.
The Bandido.
Yeah.
You can't say bandits. Bandidos. Come on.
Bandidos. Yeah. I mean, we still, hype up the fact that we captured Dillinger in Tucson, right?
Say, so Tombstone, baby.
Well, hey, hypocrisy. It happens every once in a while. But I think that's great.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
We're going to go to commercial break.
We are.
We got Joseph Blair joining us in studio. Stay tuned. You're listening to Spears and Ali here on ESPN Radio.
No commercials with JB.
Spears and Ali back on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM. We're talking with Arizona basketball legend Joseph Blair, who's trying to get this court built up in Tucson, Arizona, the Judith Blair Courts. Go to JudithBlairCourts.com and donate today. And let's get this project kickstarted and built.
Yeah.
Man.
And JB, we just now discovered this. This ain't your first time on the 1490 airwaves, but the 1490 last time you were on, it wasn't a sports talk show. It was a hip hop station.
Power 1490 jams, today's hottest hits. That's what it was back in the day. It was, it's crazy. Like hip hop and R&B obviously was blown up, but back then we were the only hip hop R&B station in Tucson. And we are by the way, I want to say we were the #1 AM station in the United States of America too.
Hell yeah.
And a large part had to do with me, obviously.
Yeah. Some things haven't changed. Yeah. Same thing. Same thing. What were you, so I'm thinking back then, like senior high school, Colors, big song. I was a big Public Enemy fan. What are you playing?
Oh, we broke here in Tucson. Bone Thugs and Harmony was all us. I was telling my son the other day, the Lady in Rage, Rough and Puff with the Afro stuff, like that was us. That was all our radio station broke all those songs in Tucson. And a lot of the concerts we used to have at the Buena Vista Theater, for those who remember the Buena Vista back when it was over there, we had Ice Cube was over there. DeBrat came into town there. We had Roger Troutman came into town as well. We did different Cypress Hill at the convention center. Man. So all those concerts that came into town, those old rap concerts, those are all less of Power 1490 back then.
Amazing. Awesome, yeah. I just had to introduce these guys to Third Base and the Gas Face. So, I mean, they knew about half of what you just talked about. But I got you. Yeah.
All they know is like little baby juice.
Little baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. All that stuff,
Yeah. Pacifier P.
You said that just reminded me of my late father. He passed away 6 years ago. Whenever he would grab my iPod, he's like, "You listening to Little John Wayne?" And I'm like, "There's Little John, there's John Wayne, there's Little Wayne. Which one are you talking about?" But going back to talking about your mother, Judith Blair, you also did a basketball camp on the behalf of her. Is that right?
Yeah. So what I did, for those who don't know, so it all started. I'm going to talk real fast, so listen real fast. Okay. Back when I was really young, we really didn't have the means. And my mother she couldn't be in sports because there was no women's or girls sports, I should say. When you're in high school, they call it girls sports. But she was a drum major. She played like 5 different instruments. Most people didn't know this, but She wanted me and my brother to play an instrument really bad. So she got us into piano lessons, and we bought her a little upright piano. And she realized that we weren't feeling the piano at all. So, but we were starting to excel a little bit in basketball. So she sold that piano to send my brother and I to our only 2 basketball camps we'd ever been to. It was actually a LSU basketball camp and Clyde Drexler basketball camp.
Oh, wow.
All in the same summer. We did those 2 things. And it was one heck of an experience. I think it changed the way I viewed basketball. I had more fun with basketball at the time. And then fast forward, I was with the Harlem Globetrotters, and I started running their basketball camps across the country. I did one here in Tucson, one in Dallas, Omaha, Nebraska, LA. They had me going everywhere for them. And I said, you know what? I want to take this back to Tucson, but I want to do it for free, where all kids can come. And I started with the Boys and Girls Clubs. We did one-day clinic at each one of the clubhouses here in Tucson. And also, I also worked at the Boys and Girls Clubs when I was here in Tucson as well as a student athlete. And one of the things I realized is most of the kids at the clubhouse really didn't mess with each other that much. So I was like, okay, how can I bring all these kids together? And back in the day, you young people don't know, when there was a thing called gangs. Gangs.
Yeah. Speaking of colors,
there was somewhat of a gang issue as well. So I thought, if I can get all these kids playing together on the same court, on the same teams, we can really hopefully eliminate some violence in the community as well. So I did that. I did that for 20 years. I ran that free of charge basketball camp. And then we even broadened it out to where we were going out to rural areas in Bisbee on the Indian reservations, different places, just to run these basketball clinics as well. We would do a 2-day clinic once a month. So at the height of everything, we were serving about 1,100 kids a year were coming through our program.
Wow.
And so I had to stop that camp, sadly, when I started coaching, just because I just was no longer, my availability was so thin. And then I was approached by an organization here in town that really wanted me to bring it back. So I was super excited about bringing it back. And when I brought it back, though, I said, hey, I'll bring it back, but we need to bring it back under my mom's name. It used to be the Arizona Basketball Academy. Now it's called the Mama Blair Basketball Camp. And I'm excited to do that. We started it last year. We're doing it again this year. So yeah, that's just the gist of it. I'm super excited to do that again. We're continuing to do that. And I still free of charge again for all the kids. And the one thing I did last year is I started bringing in, we have local coaches that help, but we also bring in some of my NBA friends. So a coach from the Charlotte Hornets come. I had another coach that's a college coach come. I had another guy who just does pre-draft workouts for players in Florida, myself as well. And then even this year, I have another guy that he was a coach with the Houston Rockets. He was also a coach in Australia. He was a head coach with a professional team in Australia. I have another guy that he was with the Washington Wizards this year coming. So we try to bring these professional players in as well. And mad props to Easter Seals Blake Foundation. They're the ones who kind of got this spearheaded to bring it back again. So I really thank them. They do all the kind of the behind the scenes work to make it happen. So I really can commend them and thank them for that.
JB gives back to the Tucson community. Give back to our guy, JB. Go to JudithBlairCourts.com. Make a donation today. Let's get these courts built. JB, thank you for stopping by, man.
Thank you guys.
Great to see you. Yeah, absolutely great.
Subscribe to the podcast. Appreciate you guys.